Your attention, our guest of honor, Humphrey Bogart. Everybody down. Barney, cover that door over there. And, watch they don't take that chicken out from under that glass we always get. And, Jack, you cover the ladies' room. We don't want no broads getting in here.
Goody, boys.
The cops ain't, we rehearsed this. This isn't for real, you know. The cops ain't likely to catch up with me, at least not for a while, so we can all be quiet, peaceable, and have a few laughs together and listen to the music. Old Dempsey here, he's got the itch between his fingers, so let's everybody stay where they are.
Only that he forgot the bit. A genius.
Gentlemen, it is not very often that an organization such as the Friars Club is obliged to get together like this to do a benefit for an actor. But seriously, New York has always given Humphrey Bogart a royal welcome. Here's a telegram from John Perona of El Morocco to our guest of honor. Stay out of my fucking joint. Here's a telegram from Clark Gable. Congratulations on your comeback. We thought you were too old to come again. And one from Frank Sinatra. Great success with your next picture, Zanuck of the North. Here's one from Bob Hope. Fuck you and the 7 little boys. Here's another telegram I'd like to read. Congratulations and continued suck, Liberace. And here's another. And you always told me you never ate lunch, baby. Our guest of honor made his debut in a Broadway play, Swifty, in 1921, and happily was able to outlive the merciless criticism of the late Alexander Walcott, an old fag, and went on to achieve the highest honors in show business. 30 years later, he won an Academy Award Oscar for his performance in The African Queen. Previously, he had won 2 nominations for the award, in 43 for Casablanca and in 47 for The Treasure of Sierra Madre. He is nominated again for an Oscar for his great performance as Captain Queeg in the Caine Mutiny. He served in the Navy during World War I. Fucked up the books in Wall Street after his discharge from the Navy, and then went to work as an assistant stage manager, casting director, and production manager for the late William A. Brady. After learning the backstage trade, he turned to acting. Broadway successes in which he took part include Cradle Snatchers, Saturday's Children, It's a Wise Child, and then came The Petrified Forest, which launched him on the road to success as a Hollywood film star. His newest picture, The Left Hand of God marks his 48th screen role. It's one of his best. His most recent films include The Cane Mutiny, Sabrina, The Desperate Hours, and My Three Angels. We are very proud of the fact that Humphrey Bogart, our guest of honor, is a native New Yorker. He was born on December 25, and so the Friars are very honored to run this pre-Christmas birthday party in his honor. Before the staff, the editorial staff of Confidential magazine is heard from, we would suggest that Humphrey keep in mind something the late Damon Runyon once wrote. When we rib a friend, we always do it with the deepest of our affection and with the deepest sincerity. Welcome. And now, gentlemen, it is my pleasure to turn the proceedings over to a young old man who will be your master of ceremonies. He was the comedy find of 1954 who got lost in 55. He is at the top of the hit parade of all television writers. He buried more than 62 of them, including Shakespeare, during the past year. It is a pleasure to present the secretary of the Friars Club, Red Button.
Pretty funny speech. Who wrote it? Good afternoon, gentlemen. Members of the dais, Dean, Friar, Abbott, honored guest, Mr. Bogart. Very, very honored to have been chosen to be the postmaster here this afternoon for so distinguished an actor and personality as Mr. Humphrey Bogart. He's been my idol ever since I was a kid, and I really feel wonderful. You'll have to pardon me, I'm still a little choked up about Eddie Wiener's speech. I've seen you in all your pictures, Mr. Bogart. I want you to know that I'm one of your big fans. Now, one picture in particular, I remember I loved you in that. Remember that was a picture in the South Pacific where you hit the beachhead and you got off that LST and you got on the beach and you were kind of climbing. You remember? You went under the barbed wires. You had the revolver in the hand going all the time. You remember? And then the Japanese in the tank, they pinned down a division. You ran on, opened the turret. You opened the thing. Boom! All the Japanese blew up. You remember that? You're full of shit. It was John Wayne. I'll give you an idea what a lion cocksucker we got here this afternoon. Picture was Iwo Jima. He even killed a few Germans on that beachhead. Fucking yes. You are here today, Mr. Bogart, because the card room has a deficit of $1,100. And don't forget it. These guys come in from the coast, you know what I mean, Johnny? And, you know. Our first speaker this afternoon, unfortunately, couldn't be here. But it's somebody I think that Mr. Bogart knows very well. And although the speaker is not here, the recording speaks for itself. Christ, couldn't give you a more direct cue than that. Pointed a finger, said it in English. What could I want, he said. And my first affair, too.
Hear that? Huh? This is Lauren Bacall. Yes, Mrs. Bogart, the uninvited guest. You rat bastard. When Reggie told me that the Friars were giving a luncheon in his honor, invited. But when he told me that I couldn't attend because it was a stag, I sure was disappointed. I said, Bogey, why can't I go? He said, baby, it's going to be a little rough. You know how men act at a stag. That's why women aren't allowed. See? Well, I was furious. In fact, I was goddamn mad. What the hell can the Friar say that you haven't called me? I must tell you of an incident that happened to Bogey before I met him. He was keeping company with a girl, and one day while he was waiting in front of her house, she wanted Bogey to go to the store for her. So she opened the window and called out, Humphrey! Humphrey! And 20 guys ran up to her room. Boys, don't think this guy Bogey is easy to live with. When Bogey gets his script for a picture, especially where he plays a tough guy, he studies his part with so much sincerity you'd think our home was a hideout, and he was really on the lam. When he has his script memorized, he puts so much realism into it, he really believes that he's a tough guy. My Bogey even fights in his sleep. He wakes me up 3 or 4 times a night and says, baby, hold my gun. What's that? That's it. That was why it was called. You can buy the album at the Colony Record Shop. You fucking a nice girl like that. He's just lucky, I guess. Gentlemen, on my left is one I met some years ago in California, just for a brief handshake. I've been an admirer for a good many years. He was in the business acting, and acting pretty good, I'm sure, before I was born. Great actor, wonderful gentleman. Give you an idea what kind of a gentleman he is. He always removes his monocle before he takes a piss. Mr. Charles Coburn.
That is not the reason I removed my monocle. I'm ashamed to look down. I heard a story the other day. I don't like to use dirty words, so I'll substitute for the dirty words. I'll just say da-da, da-da, da-da. This is the story. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Da-da, da-da. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Fuck. The dirtiest mind in the world is the mind of a censor. They never see anything in anything except filth. And I'll tell you a brief story which epitomizes the censorship mind. Many years ago, there was a little minstrel company called High Henry's Minstrels. Used to play one-night stands through the East. And they came to a town called Westchester, Pennsylvania. And a man called at the hotel and asked to see the manager and presented himself as the self-appointed guardian of public morals. He said to the manager, I understand you boys have got some dirty jokes. And I said, well, that's very strange. We pride ourselves on having a very clean show. Well, he said, I want to tell you I'm going to be in the first row tonight with my wife. And the first one that pulls a dirty joke, I'll stop the show. He said, that's all right, mister. So he was there in the first row, and everything was going along fine. Finally, the star-end man comes on with a fanfare and rattle of horns and tambourine. Says, good evening, Mr. Interlocutor. He says, good evening, Mr. Boone. Mr. Interlocutor, tell me, what is the best thing about a woman? Well, really, Mr. Bones, I don't know. Tell me, what is the best thing about a woman? And this guy jumps up and says, if he says cut, I'll stop the show. I went to see Humphrey Bogart play when I was a boy. I used to play later on, when he was an old man, I was playing pool with him down at the Players Club. He was always a son of a bitch. Mean bastard. And that's why they cast him in these parts. I've never seen him on the screen. Thank God. But I'm looking forward to seeing the next picture that he does. I caught a little bit of it last night. Boy, does it stink. It's a beautiful thing. Really. Humphrey, I congratulate you. You've done a magnificent job. And I can only say that from all your experiences of different kinds, I wish I were Humphrey Bogart.
Big hand on the way out. He's got to leave. He's got a cocksucker waiting for him. Neither are you. You are pretty mean, you know that. Tell you how mean he is. Even the good guy in the picture's a prick. Why did I say that? Just when you're rolling. I'd like to meet one of the all-time great champions. I grew up with him. I was a kid on the Lower East Side, and I must have mentioned his name maybe 3-4 times a day. Every time a kid had hit me, I'd say, fuck you. My father's Jack Dempsey will kick the shit out of you. Jack Dempsey, the great. Thank you. It's the same grin he had on his face when he hit Jack Sharkey in the balls. On the cards. I made that up. Gentlemen, last week in the UN, the French delegation walked out. But they left us one of the best goodwill ambassadors that France has ever had. Gentlemen, Maurice Chevalier.
Gentlemen, really, I didn't expect to have to talk, and really, I'm not prepared, but I feel that I have to thank you anyhow, you see. I've come back in your wonderful country only 1 week ago, and I've got to adjust myself to the new kind of American that I'm seeing, you see.
For a Frenchman, it's very hard to talk about so many cocksuckers and... Now I'm trying to adjust myself to that new American, and a lot of things seem to have changed a lot, you see, because when the lunch started today, I saw something that really knocked me out, if I can say so, because it came from a fellow like Jack Dempsey, you see. When you see a fellow like Jack Dempsey just do a thing like that and kiss a fellow like Bogart, you know, it's something very big, I mean to say. It's something that I have to write home and say that there is something different now in all Broadway. No, I want to tell you really that I'm really very happy to be back in your country, trying to do something that I would love to do in my own career. I'm very happy to be received so friendly, and I'm very proud that Joey Louis, that great comic, asked me to come today for Humphrey Bogart, because as all the Frenchmen, and I'm afraid as all the whole world, I admire Humphrey Bogart because he's, to my opinion, a great artist, a man's man, and even a lady's man with that kind of sad look that he has. You see, so I wish you all the best, and I'll try to do my very best to deserve to be received in such a great country, so friendly. Thank you very much.
The one and only, the great Maurice Segalia. Let's have the night with you. Wonderful to have you back. And in the words of your countrymen, arrivederci.
That's a detour. That means you're flying low.
You met one great champion in the world of sports. Here's another. Anything I can say about this gentleman really would be superfluous. Joe DiMaggio. Maybe next year, Joe. Tell you how good this boy was. They should have cut him a piece of the series. At the same table, young man who kind of came out of nowhere after struggling for 14, 15 years in a room with a typewriter. But in the past couple of years, he's really made his mark. He's emerged as one of the finest playwrights we have in the land, and I have a very, very small feeling that we haven't heard or seen the best of his works yet. He's a young fellow with enormous talent, the writer of Marty and many, many other great shows, Paddy Chayefsky. I'd like you to meet a young man who's been around Broadway a long, long time. This is really a display of affection. The guest of honor that he showed up. Kind of likes to stay up late, sit around with the boys. He doesn't look too good. He just kind of sits around, referring to a young man whose act killed more Jews than Myron Cohn. As a matter of fact, this morning he had to jerk off twice just to get his heart started. of Wall Street? Young man who just came in from the West Coast with some of that well-known fuck you money? Blue Holtz.
Well, I certainly want to thank you. I haven't got anything on the paper. I live out... Oh, your paper. I live out in California. I've only been here a few weeks, and I want to tell you that out there, all shitheel. Everybody out there is a shitheel. I don't know why. I guess it's the sun. If you're a nice fella and you got about 4% shitheel in you, the sun seems to drag it out. But I can honestly say, although there are a lot of shitheels out there, this does not go for Humphrey Bogart. Because anybody that could be sweethearts with George Raft for 8 years has got to be a nice fella. He and Raft are very close. And about Mr. Chevalier, he don't know anything about all this talk with the cocksucker and the contracteur. He's been playing with my brick for half an hour. I was talking to Raft about Mr. Bogart. He thinks he's a hell of an actor. Of course, you saw him in the Cane Mutiny, you know, where he plays with the ball. But Raft says that he can play with a pair of balls in a room. Well, of course, everything you make up, it can't be good. See, but in California, you know, this is on the square about the shitheel. Just amazing. I've been living out there a long while, and I was on the dais one night with Burns, Benny, and Danny Kaye. They always have the same cast. And Sam Goldwyn was on the dais. Now, I've known Sam Goldwyn all my life. Been living out there for years, and he walked over to me and he says, "Lou," he says, "how are you?" He talks like a Jew, you know. Louis says, "Certainly glad to see you." He says, "How long have you been in town?" I said, "About 11 years. Yeah, this is the truth. Now, in closing, as I told you before, I don't have any jokes. I've been laying off. Well, I've been smoking now for 8 years. It's my only business. I smoke. Of course, they say all over the country that they say I suck a lot. They have to talk. They got to say something. They got to tear you down, you know. I give you my sacred word of honor, gentlemen, that I have never sucked a cunt in an airplane in my life. I can honestly say that I have been a member of the Facemen of America for over 30 years. And they always said I was the best. And I don't think it's fair for them on an afternoon like this. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to me for them to go and import the greatest spaceman from France. to sit here on the dais with me. But gentlemen, if this is a challenge, he has the best of me. I'm 62, he's 69. And you know what 69 is, you lying bastard. But for money, marbles, or chalk, I'll take him into any hotel, into any given suite, with 6 or 7 girls, stretch them out, and I will outsuck him 6-1. Thank you.
Last speech came to us through the courtesy of the Gaiety Delicatessen. Another great champion. A wonderful, wonderful guy. Loved by all, I'm sure. Barney Ross. You'd have sucked you to beat Armstrong. You know that. But you blew it. I never knew that about you, Lou. Never knew that about you. I think the comedy hit of the new TV season, doing a great film show called You'll Never Get Rich. This fellow started out in the box. We're not quite sure whose. Product, burlesque, my opinion, one of the cleverest comedians we've ever had in the business. But not only a great performer, a real classy guy. I know the word has been abused and kicked around our street. A real classy fellow. Give you an idea of kind of class this fella has. I was in a room with him one day at the Hotel Dixie. Easy. And a knock came on the door. Philly said, who's there? And it was some broad, I don't know, Bubble something or other. I'll show you the class on this fellow. Yes. The next speaker, my buddy, Philly Silvers.
Thank you very much, Red. It's a great feeling of relief to be at a gathering with a Toastmaster who of a necessity will not be given to reminiscing. And I'm privileged to be in front of this majority group of laymen who I'm sure will say the last lunch was better. But Red, as a slight test, you mentioned burlesque, which I was just in briefly. I was doing a piece for Cosmopolitan. I had no desire to be in his file. Oh, these notes are no good. I made some notes to answer Jackie Leonard. But unfortunately, Jackie is on an extensive tour for the no-cal people, and this is no good. But Red, a slight test. This is a warm gathering, and we can ad-lib a thing. You mentioned burlesque, which has been said, and rightfully so, the greatest training ground of all for comedians. You may have, in the last few years, let this training lapse. So I'd like to give you a kind of a trial test. I will force myself for a moment and be a straight man. It is not my calling, but this is a democratic crowd. Well, there's a lovely-looking girl present, a cute little lad.
Nice face, too.
He's all right. One more test. I hear you had trouble with your girl. Did you put your foot in it?
No, but I could have.
He's going to be all right. All right. This boy remembers. I am unfortunately of a necessity unprepared. That is the truth. Sometimes you hit a block, a mental block, and there's nothing you can do about it. In the past lunches, the guests of honor have been of a more spicy nature. I couldn't even prepare any ribs about our guest of honor. He does nothing to me. And but Maurice might later. But let's face it, you must be honest. I always had the firm feeling that Jimmy Cagney could kick the shit out of him. I've always felt that. And, I mean, what can you say about him? At least I don't feel I can. In the respect and kind of affection given me, I like to live up to it. But I can't come up with anything powerful about him because he doesn't arouse that kind of thinking in me. In our past, we are New Yorkers, and it's kind of a little more honesty here in our guests of honor. And like Burl, if he was here, he would show us his cock. Something warm that you can talk about. I mean, what can I truthfully say about him? As a matter of fact, too much love for him, especially today, I don't have. He really solidified the small distaste I have. I mean, I've done pretty good in my own way, and to be constantly called Sid gets a little aggravating as you go along. I met him some time ago in pictures. We did a picture together in which I had a small part all through the night. There was another chap in the picture, Jackie Gleason. I don't know what became of him. But what can I truthfully say about him that represents any humor? That he took a piss from a balcony in Rome? That he stuffed a panda up a girl's ass at the El Morocco? These are great Jackie Leonard jokes, if I can only use them. It's really embarrassing. However, with the affection given me, they always put me on late thinking I can follow these jokers, but I can't. Tonight, or this afternoon anyway, I'm if I may say so, a good plot comedian. There's nothing of a storyline that's happened here that can encourage this, if I may say so, warm wit of mine. However, it is very nice to be here, as though it is. I live right upstairs, and I'll leave immediately, and let's not get too noisy. They have a very delicate broad upstairs waiting for me. I think Coburn beat me to it, however. But, for what it's worth, to me, just to be here, to sit next to a man, because there's not much else that's very important. I have the happy faculty, I think, as a comedian, to drop it when other things are happening. To be this stimulated about the World Series or any other events, I think, is a happy attitude to have. The film series I'm doing doesn't just take up all my time. I mean, I think Burl is ready to be taken. This is factual. It doesn't bother me that he's opposite me. Not much, except when I look at the rating. But to sit next to what I think is the most important thing, at least in my life, right now anyway, a warm gentleman. A gentleman of great conviviality. A gentleman that's one of the fellas. It kind of rubs off on you, because in the helter-skelter today, to sit next to a man that does, with all the kidding aside, represents a good guy. In the parlance, one of the boys. That's about all I could ask for. And I'm so proud to get a small piece of him. Joey, it's lovely to sit next to you. Thank you very much.
You're out of class, Phil. You're full of shit, too, don't you? You know that, don't you? Here's an old Hungarian appearing at the old Romanian. The illegitimate son of Sadie Banks. One of the biggest sports we have in the business. This kid is really a sporty kid and a big spender. Give you an idea of what a big sport this boy is. 2 winters ago, he ran out of a burning hotel in Miami, completely naked. He had his hat on and his pants over his arm. He ran out, he got a hold of a fireman. He said, "Pardon me." He said, "Did you see a beautiful red-headed broad with 2 big tits with a nice ass?" Fireman said no. He said, "Well, if you see her, give her a fuck for me. It's all paid for already." Big spot. He's gonna die, so we might as well get it over with. Gene Bellis! Geez, this is wonderful. I'll tell you the truth. I don't know Humphrey Bogart, so fuck him. You remember Red Buttons, who used to be very popular many years ago? And I came here this afternoon first to, not to eat. I didn't like this. I'm doing a double. I'm working with another prick now. Johnny Johnson I got enough trouble with. What is it? You stole a pen, Gene. That's not funny. Sit down. But I'll tell you, I didn't come here to make with the jokes. The real truth is the car's going to Jersey and the game starts in the afternoon. I open tonight at the old Romanian. I'm working for this cocksucker. And now, don't look now, but I think I'm auditioning. Every fucking job I get, I'm auditioning. I was at the Riviera with Tony Martin. They tore down the building. I worked a couple of spots in California. They closed that. Now I'm looking to make a A&P out of this joint. All I gotta do is now get charged for the dinner. I flop the whole fucking thing. I'll tell you the fucking truth. It's murder eating chicken for breakfast. But, Humphrey, I work the, I don't, you know, I make with the jokes and all that, but I very seldom have a chance. And, incidentally, Joey Lewis is the president of AGVA. He doesn't know what the fuck he just signed, but he thinks it's the, Actors Venereal Girls Association. He didn't know what the hell he's doing. He's loaded. And, I don't know how the hell he got up. He didn't get up. He didn't go to sleep yet. But, I never had the chance of saying something nice about Mr. Bogart. I've seen him in his latest picture, Public Enemy #1. And, 4-star matzo ball, I want to tell you that. And, with Laura McCall, the record, that's all bullshit. That's Sadie Banks. See? No jokes, nothing prepared, just witty little fucking things I do. Little witty little things. They always call me up on these things to save the show. We introduced the press. We introduced from the Post, the Journal, the Mirror, the News. We forgot the Graphic and the forwards. I'd like to thank the press for the very nice now notices I'll be getting for this show. I'll tell you the truth. I can have you screaming up here, but I'd rather have you come down to the old Romania because I got a good deal there with Silverman. I don't get a salary. I get 10% over $180,000. But I'm the only entertainer in the show that's allowed to cook in the dressing room. I made a flunking fucking dinner last night. I just played a famous hotel in Miami Beach, the Fontainebleau. Fabulous hotel. It's a little overdone. They got an 8-piece band playing in the men's room. I think all they need is piano and violin is enough. There's no room for dancing. Witty, huh? Hope to shit I'm witty. And you're coughing right in my kisser. I'm not going to do the old joke and say, why don't you use what I use when I have an old cough? I don't want to blow these fucking jokes. All the comics are looking to grab now. But, you ever get the feeling you're in the wrong business? I don't want to take up too much of your time. You've been a wonderful audience. I hope to come back for the next Friar luncheon. But as far as Mr. Bogart, I think you're a great actor. I'd like to have you down for my opening because this is what Silverman's been bullshitting me all week. Just come to the Friars, bring down some fucking actors because I didn't read the clause. And I got to work exceptionally fast now because I got to get over to the Paramount and see if there's any mail. And, fucking idiots. Look at these people. There's no shows no more. Don't you get it? Oh, fucking idiots these are. They look at me like losers. But I'd like to thank you all. I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year because I don't think I'll be around this way again.
But you've been very, very kind, Mr. Bogart. You're a great actor, and I'd like to be a great comedian like you're a great actor. I'd like to thank you for being on the dais, and good luck to all of you. God bless you, and please come down to the old Romanian because this cocksucker is murder. I don't know what the fuck to do.
Okay, Carl, no tab for the afternoon. Like rare old wine. God bless him. Our wit, and has been a wit for a long, long time. The wonderful Sally Violinsky. Sally!
There's very little difference between me and Bogart. She's a menace in pictures, and I was a menace in vaudeville. I used to be in vaudeville. I did about 4 or 5 minutes. I was next to closing on a 3-act bill, but most of the time I was next to being closed on any bill. I played London in 1910. There's one thing I'll say about an English audience. They're very loyal, and they never forget an act. That's why I never went back. I got tired of acting, so I started to write songs. I remember the first song I ever wrote was a moonlight song that never saw daylight. I once received a check from ASCAP, and on the back of the check was written foreign royalties from England, France, and Australia. That same day, I went into a pool room where they fed horses, and I lost in 3 countries. I don't think Nick the Geek ever lost a state or a city. So I got tired of that. I went to Hollywood to go in pictures. There's a great town. I was there for 2 years before I found out that I was stranded. But my day come, I got a phone call from a studio. Wanted me to do a gangster in a picture. So I got to the studio, and I saw 2 rival gangs. I asked the director which gang he wanted me in. He says, pick anyone you want. And to show you how lucky I am, the gang that I picked was knocked off the first day. Out in Hollywood, the only thing you could see at nighttime was a soft ball game played by beautiful dames. So I stepped into a ballpark one night, and I ran into Harry Cohn of the Columbia Pictures. I says to Harry, why don't you sponsor one of these teams? I said, you're a fan, and you put a Columbia uniform on the dames, and you'll have something to root for. He said, it's a great idea. How do I get one? I said, I know the manager of this team. So I went and saw the manager. The next morning, I phoned Harry Cohn. I said, Harry, you are now the owner of the softball team. He said, great, Violinsky. I said, wait a minute. I want to ask you to do me a favor. Now, as Boyce lawyer, he thinks that I'm going to ask him for a favor or a job. He says, what is it, Sally? I said, I'd like to fuck your shortstop. Which he is still doing. I went into show business the hard way. I played the piano in a whorehouse. I played the piano so good that the customer used to stop in the middle of the puppy to applaud me. That's what gave me the idea of going to show business. I knew that they'd have to applaud in a theater, so what do you think happened? They were still fucking. I had a burning desire to have everybody stand up and cheer me when I did my act. So I got up and finished for the finale of my act. I had a dame walking to the piano stark naked. And I played the Star Spangled Banner very quietly, and there wasn't a prick in the audience that didn't stand up.
Thank you, Sally. Sally Violinsky. Thank you. Like you to meet a wonderful guy.
great wit. He probably hates me by now. I'm saving him for last. The fellow has a very, very successful show called $1 a Second on TV. It was to this boy that Milton Berle once said, "Hey, kid, you want to see my cock?" That's the way it all started. I love him. I was at his home last night celebrating his birthday. The very, very wonderful Jan Murray. Jan, come on.
I guess I better make this kind of fast, boy. You know, Mr. Bogart, you and I never met, but we both got a good fucking here tonight. This afternoon, you as the guest of honor, they straighten you out pretty good, sir. I'm a man who respects you. These other guys here, you know, I thought I'd vomit here today. I feel so out of place on this whole dance. I'm the only one still fucking, you know what I mean? I felt like I was in the wrong building or something, you know. I felt like I was a fag, you know, doing something unnatural. Don't breathe on me, you wolf. Anyway, why the hell I was saved for last? I'm not a friar, and I think it would have been nice manners on their part if they'd have put me on kind of early, you know, so I feel I got a little humpy, too. Because you know what a hit I'll be now? I had a lot of, I was really handicapped. I've only been at 3 luncheons or affairs at the Friars. I was here once honoring Milton Berle, you know, where I told about seeing his cock. That was a momentous occasion. And then they had a thing for Dean and Jerry at the Waldorf last year, and I appeared there. And then they had one thing for Red, a luncheon last year, and I appeared to that. I don't know if they were celebrating his cancellation or something. They got some fucking macabre sense of humor in this club, you know. It's a man just got canceled. They threw him a big wingding here, you know what I mean? With such tears and crying. Anyway, look at this. It's coughing. Is that you or Holtz? You know, I keep worrying he doesn't get any on my suit. I'm going home later. Anyway, one piece meat. And so at least I felt equipped to get up at those luncheons and talk because we have a background that is similar, Red and Milton and Jerry and Dean and, you know, myself. We kicked around together and everything, and I knew I could tell you stories about our past life. We had so much in common, but a great motion picture star like Mr. Bogart, and they asked me to come down here. No one said, we'll put you on, you know, after Nila, you know what I mean? They just said, come in, you'll eat a little bit, and you'll get up and say a few words. I said, I don't know, Mr. Bogart. How could I dare get up, you know, say funny things about him? But I thought of a lot of funny things to say, and I heard them all afternoon, you know? I had a routine about him slugging it out with this fucking dame for the panda that would have rocked the place forever, you know? So Phil, made shit out of it, but he said panda, so I blew that thing, you know? All he said was panda, nothing. I had 7 minutes on this fucking thing. Fighting a girl at El Morocco for a panda, you know what heroism, what fearlessness, you know, this gives itself to a big routine. But the only broad he ever backed down to, and I know this, he didn't know me, but I was at Leon and Eddie's and I witnessed it, you know, forget the El Morocco incident. The only broad he ever backed down to was Lois DeFay, when she tried to grab his alligator one day at Leon and Eddie's. You know what toys this man plays with, pandas and alligators? But, so I had a bunch of that shit prepared because I don't know the man. I mean, Kutcher's Country Club, you never worked, right? We have no background, right? There's no common background. We have in Paul's Hotel in Swan Lake, huh? Flagler. I'll mention all of you. Never in any of those places, right? That's all. So what the hell am I going to discuss with this boy? You know what Kutcher's is like, don't you? You know in Hollywood they got the brown derby crowd? In Kutcher's they have the black yarmulke mob. It's a whole different set of people up there. And so, you know, there's no reminiscing with Mr. Bogart except what I read about him in the papers. You know, knowing about the beautiful wife he married and that. I thought that was a terrific thing, the recording. When I listened to it, you know, shows she's a real good sport. And it was beautiful. I got a big kick out of that. And, of course, that's one of the advantages of being, one of the things that shows Mr. Bogart is brave, not only on screen, but off screen, you know. He must be, well, let's be friendly. A 55er, would you say? 53er? I don't know. I'm not even going to ask. A 5er? 55er. Well, this takes plenty of guts to marry a girl like 23, right? Right? You know what heroism you need for this? I'm married to a girl only 6 years younger. You know the oysters I've consumed in 2 years? Here's a man married a girl 23. Ooh, what gold. Thank you, Earl. And, you know, I'm floundering here, and I can't even think of one story. So what do you want to do now? Trying to think of what wasn't said here. Fucking bit is they won't even invite me back ever again on the dance. Oh, fucking floppy was. We saved him for last yet. Look at this thrill. Anyone thinks I got a closing number, you're crazy. No songs, nothing. Anyway, Mr. Bogart. What? You see nothing. What anyway, Mr. Bogart? What do you say to him? You ever get a guy on the dance doesn't know the man they're honoring? Well, anyhow, Humphrey. What anyhow? What? What did we ever do? What? What anyhow? Where? What? You know, you ever see this for fucking embarrassment? This they say for last, like a man's going to get up, reminisce with him. He's also looking at me strange. Who is this butch that's coming up here talking now? Anyway, Mr. Bogart. He never saw me in his life. Oh, I never worked with my uncle and father. Who the hell do you think I am? Look how mixed up he is. He thought I worked with my uncle and father. Well, one thing I know, you never worked them out. What kind of name is Humphrey for a Jewish boy? Well, I'll tell you one story. Thank God I thought of something just now. Maybe you didn't hear it. Probably everybody in the joint heard it, but I'm a square. I live out in the country now, and I don't get around to hear these gags much. You know what was killing me? Driving down today, I was thinking of a gag that had the word shit in it, and I was debating with myself all the way down. Shall I tell it? No, you better not. Shit. You don't know, Mr. Bogart. You're going to get up shit. Like the opening line. Hello, you old cocksucker. How do you feel, you fuck? I never heard such a thing in my life. This was the opening. Where the hell do you go from here? You know? And Chevalier's a beautiful man. How fucking long? He's been coming here 100 years. The accent gets thicker every year. I couldn't understand him at all. I don't know what the hell he was saying. That's the only way I know him. See, these schmucks imitate him all these years. You know how many mimics made a living from him? It's the easiest man in Hollywood to imitate. Little plastic surgery. You remove the upper lip and that's it. You do the whole imitation. Anyway, this story I wanted to tell you. I hope you haven't heard it, honestly. It concerns Humphrey. You're friendly already. He's the one thing you gotta say. It's a great... You know, this is the busiest actor in the whole show business industry. Two big pictures opening this week. One opened already, right? Left Hand of God and Desperate Hours. This morning I was shaving and got him on my electric shaver. You can't miss this man anymore, you know? All over the lot, this boy is, and it's wonderful because he's a great actor. In Left Hand of God, he plays a priest. Is this typecasting? A priest. 2 days after the picture was released, 3,000 drunks became religious fanatics all over the country, you know. I told you I didn't know. I'm trying to think. I read once he drank, once he what. Listen, I'll tell you the story. In Central Park, you know the Tavern on the Green, Humphrey, they say. They have a little club there. A lot of elderly gentlemen come there, 80, 90-year-old guys. You know, they come around and play chess, checkers, just nice little place to sit around. So one day, like a new candidate came over, a wrinkled guy, you know, with snow-white hair. He sat down. He said, "Gentlemen, you mind if I join you?" And I said, "No, sit down." So I talked to him for about a half hour, asking where he's from, et cetera, his name, and so forth. And so finally one of the guys said, boy, he begins to notice the guy doesn't wear a hearing aid, hasn't got false teeth, doesn't wear eyeglasses. He says, boy, he says, you're in pretty good condition. He says, you look pretty good. He says, yeah, thank God, I hear, I see, I got my teeth. Other old man says, boy, he says, that's marvelous. He says, that's really wonderful. He says, well, I'll tell you. He says, when I was 14 years old, I was a very sick boy, but my family doctor said to me, son, if you want to grow up to live to a ripe old age, you got to get fucked 4 times every day. And since then, I've been getting laid 4 times every day. The other guy said, that's wonderful. Hey, by the way, how old are you now? He says, 24.